Pro Wrestling Noah Star Navigation 2025 crowned two new champions. You had Hank and Tank, who captured the GHC Tag Team Titles with the NXT buzz behind them, and Yoshiki Inamura walked out as the new GHC Heavyweight Champion. But despite those title changes and all the tournament advancement happening throughout the night, this was just a nothing show that I can't really recommend to anybody. So why did a card with objectively significant outcomes feel so insignificant? Well, the problem started way before we even got to those title matches. From the very first bell, this show was just fighting an uphill battle that it was never going to win. The opener with Jack Morris, Kenoh, and Marufuji teaming up against Al Beryon and Muhammad Yone had the names to get people invested, but it ended up being just okay here. I gave this one 2 stars because while Kenoh's foot stomp finish looked fine, nothing about this match elevated beyond just the basic stuff here. So when the second match rolled around with Hayata and Oka Sasaki taking on Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane and the Passionate Rattels in a 3-way, you hope that a multi-man dynamic would create something and some type of energy at that, but instead I walked away with absolutely nothing to latch onto. I gave this one 1 3/4 stars, and it was basically a match that had nothing much of anything going for it. The Junior Heavyweight Grand Prix, for me, should have been where this show found its footing, with 4 first-round matches. But Junta Miyakawa versus Kai Fujimura, that one barely scraped just 2 1/4 stars. Pretty much because they needed more time to actually be good. And then the Shuji Kondo one, he pretty much streamrolled Black Men's Array with a pretty much a lariat, and what I can only describe as a 1-star quick match that felt like it existed just to fill a tournament bracket. Then you had Alejandro and Ninja Mac, at least for me, gave me something fun for the short time that they had at just 2.5 stars. But a match being fun for a short time doesn't move the needle when you're 5 matches deep and nothing's really clicking. So by the time we got through the majority of this card, I had 5 matches just sitting at 2.5 stars or below. And that's the kind of hole a show can't climb out of. But if there was ever one moment where Noah could have saved this entire show, it was coming up in the main event. And that's where things just got a little bit more frustrating. Kenta defended the GHC Heavyweight title against Yoshiki Inamura. And this should have been a moment where everything clicked here. A new champion getting crowned in Korakuen Hall, the emotional payoff that justifies just sitting through a rough undercard at that. This pretty much was the type of main event that makes you forget about the mediocrity that came before it, if it was done right. But when Inamura hit that top rope splash and got the 3 count, I just couldn't shake the feeling that what I just watched was just simply okay. I gave this one 2 3/4 stars, and for a title change, that's pretty damning with faint praise. And honestly, I walked away thinking this might just be the ceiling for these 2 guys working against each other. The problem wasn't effort or physicality. Both guys worked hard, but there was no magic in this layout. No moment that elevated beyond the basic thing that they usually do. And when your main event title change can't crack 3 stars at least, you're asking the audience to care about something that didn't earn it. That didn't earn that emotional investment at that. So when the supposed climax of your entire show lands with a thud like that, you think there is nothing worth salvaging from this entire show. But here's where it gets frustrating. Because this show actually did have moments that proved that Pro Wrestling Noah was capable of delivering some type of quality, which makes the overall mediocrity even harder to accept. Hiromu Takahashi taking on Daiki Odashima showed me what was actually possible in the Junior Heavyweight Grand Prix, especially when you give competitors the time and trust to build something meaningful. I gave that one 3 1/4 stars because Hiromu, much like with Odashima, delivered something really good with the constraints here that they were given. And you can feel the craftsmanship in every sequence here. But here's the thing. Even that standout performance couldn't move the needle enough because it's surrounded by so much mediocrity that it felt like an island of competence in an ocean of filler. So when Hank and Tank defeated Team 2000X for the GHC Tag Team titles and landed a pretty much 3.25 star match, especially with the NXT connection and championship prestige behind them, I should have felt excited about that. I should have felt the momentum building towards those titles changing, mattering. The tag title match was genuinely good. And if the entire card has been built at that level, this show would have been something I happily recommend to people looking for solid championship wrestling at that. But the cruel reality is that two really good matches with Hiromu's 3.25 stars and the tag title match being at 3.25 stars are just not enough to carry a show when 5 other matches sit at 2.5 stars or below. Also, your main event title change barely scratched 2.75 stars. Those are the bright spots that can prove that Noah knew how to deliver quality when everything aligned, but they also prove that just showing how poor aligned that everything else can be, which makes me wonder if this show's problems ran deeper than just the match-by-match execution. Pro Wrestling Noah Star Navigation 2025 crowned 2 new champions and advanced wrestlers through a full tournament bracket so far. But none of that mattered because the execution across the board just wasn't there to make anything of this stuff feel significant. So I'm pretty much at a score of 6.25 out of 10. I can't recommend this show. Not because the title changes are inherently bad or because the wrestling can't be entertaining on a night where matches don't all hit, but because this particular show failed to string together enough quality moments to justify the time investment or create any real sense of momentum going forward. The sad part is that this night proved that Noah is capable of delivering when everything can come together. The Hiromu Odashima match showed it. The tag title match showed it. But those glimpses of competence only highlight how poorly the rest of the card delivered here. You can't build a show worth watching on 2 good matches surrounded by filler and a disappointing main event at that. And when your championship changes feel like obligations rather than emotional payoffs, you pretty much lose the viewer at that, long before the final bell rings. Star Navigation 2025 had the pieces, but it failed to assemble anything into anything memorable.